You think it's love because your heart races when they text and crashes when they don't. You replay their voice like a song you can't stop. You read meaning into every pause. You tell yourself, this is deep. But deep isn't always true. Carl Jung warned us. Sometimes it's not love reaching out. It's a part of you reaching back, projecting, craving, possessing. And if you're not careful, that ache you chase, it might not be them at all. It might be your anima. And you've just fallen in love with your own illusion. In this video, we'll expose the hidden psychological trap that turns desire into obsession. You'll learn to recognize limerence, decode Jung's anima theory, and most importantly, take your power back. Because once you see it, you can never unsee it. Love is connection. It's slow, steady, real. But limerence is hunger dressed as romance. It's when your mind obsesses over someone who barely knows you, or someone who's already pulled away. It's the fantasy of being loved, not the experience of being seen. The psychologist Dorothy Tinoff first coined the term limerence in the 1970s. But in the age of TikTok therapy and situationships, it's become a silent epidemic. Searches for, "Why am I obsessed with someone I barely know?" have exploded across the internet, and the algorithm delivers advice, but not the truth, because underneath the emotional chaos is something Jung warned about long before any app was invented: a hidden force inside the psyche, a projected figure that wears the face of desire, but belongs to you. And that's where the anima enters. Carl Jung believed that what you call love at first sight might actually be recognition, not of the other person, but of an image you've carried your entire life. That image is the anima, the inner feminine in a man's psyche, and the animus, the inner masculine within a woman. They aren't personalities, they're projections, psychic silhouettes built from memory, myth, trauma, and longing. They form before we know language, drawn from the mother's smile, the father's absence, a character in a film, a fleeting moment that the soul mistakes for safety. Over time, this inner figure becomes your invisible blueprint for love. And here's the trap. When you meet someone who resembles that inner figure, your unconscious lights up, not because of who they are, but because of who they remind you of. You're not falling in love. You're falling into projection, into the mirror, into yourself. And once that projection begins, you're no longer seeing them. You're seeing your anima, the nurturer you never had, the softness you repressed, the attention you crave. You're seeing a phantom. And the more you idealize it, the more control it has over you. Jung called this anima possession, when the inner figure seizes the psyche. And suddenly, your longing isn't about connection. It's about return to something lost, to something imagined, to something that lives inside you, but wears someone else's face. And that's why it hurts, not because they left, but because the illusion collapsed. And now, you're face to face with your own emptiness. Limerence doesn't arrive with fireworks. It slips in like a whisper, when someone mirrors what your soul's been aching to meet. At first, it feels magical, familiar, faded, but it's not them you see. It's the anima, the inner figure that wears their face. You start to project. Your unconscious loads them with meanings, with memories they never lived, with depth they haven't earned. They become your missing piece. And then comes the loop. You feed the fantasy. They trigger the hope. And your nervous system lights up like you've found salvation. But it isn't connection. It's circuitry. It's a closed loop of projection and craving. No dialogue, no mutuality, just the echo of your own longing bouncing off someone else's silence. Jung called this anima possession, when the inner archetype hijacks the senses, and you fall, not for a person, but for your own unconscious story. It's not love, it's addiction, disguised as destiny. But if you know the mechanism, you can start to disarm it, and it begins with seeing the signs, not in them, but in you. If something in you stirred while listening, trust it. These aren't just ideas. They're fragments of a truth you've always carried. Subscribe to Deeper Rewind for more unspoken insights, the kind that don't just explain, but remember you. Limerence isn't just a feeling, it's a pattern that pulls you out of reality and into projection. A fantasy so vivid, you forget to look for truth. And if you've fallen under its spell, you'll find yourself in these 7 signs. 1. They're always on your mind, uninvited, not just in romantic moments, but in the silence between them. You rehearse conversations that never happened. You imagine how they'd react to your pain, to your success, to your absence. They become your shadow companion, a ghost stitched into your thoughts. This isn't affection, it's invasion. 2. You feel high when they engage, and empty when they don't. A message floods you with relief. A delay wrecks your day. You're not relating. You're withdrawing, like an addict waiting for their next emotional hit. You call it chemistry, but your nervous system calls it chaos. 3. You interpret their every move like a prophecy. Their emoji, their punctuation, the way they said goodbye instead of see you. You don't observe, you decode. Like love has become a riddle you're desperate to solve. It's not clarity. It's obsession disguised as intuition. 4. You create a future with them, without ever knowing them. You imagine vacations, vows, growing old, but you haven't even shared silence together. You're in a relationship, with a role you've cast them in. It's not love, it's storytelling. And the script lives in your head. 5. You believe they complete you. You're not just drawn to them. You collapse into them. You believe that if they love you, the ache inside will finally disappear. But love doesn't erase your shadow. It only illuminates it. 6. You minimize red flags to protect the dream. You excuse neglect as they're just scared. You justify mixed signals as complexity. You bend reality to preserve the illusion. The more they fail to meet your needs, the more you double down on the fantasy. You're not blind. You're in self-protection mode, guarding the version of them that never really existed. 7. You fear losing them, more than you fear losing yourself. You make yourself small, quiet, eager. You shapeshift just to keep their attention, even if it hurts, even if you forget what peace feels like. You don't want love, you want relief, and that is limerence. If these signs feel familiar, you're not crazy, you're not weak, you're not broken. You've mistaken a projection for a person, and now you're caught in the echo chamber of your own unmet needs. But here's the truth Jung knew. The moment you recognize the illusion, you can begin to dismantle it, and that is how we begin to wake up. You don't escape limerence by running away from them. You escape it by returning to yourself. Jung didn't offer quick fixes. He offered maps for those brave enough to look inward. Here's his 3-step path out of projection and into wholeness. Step 1. Active imagination. Jung believed the unconscious speaks in images, not logic. So he taught a method to dialogue with it. You sit in silence, Close your eyes and allow the anima, the internal figure, to appear. Then you speak to her. Ask her what she wants. Let her answer. It sounds strange, but it works, because what's unspoken owns you, and what's spoken starts to loosen. Step 2. Shadow integration projection happens when we disown parts of ourselves. The beauty, the rage, the need gets buried, so we chase it in others. We see our power in their confidence, our softness in their affection, our worth in their validation. Jung called this the shadow. To heal, you must reclaim what you've pushed away. Not become someone else, but become someone whole. Step 3. Individuation. This is Jung's endgame. Not detachment, not avoidance, but inner unity. The self becomes strong enough to love without collapse, to be drawn towards someone without dissolving inside them. Individuation is the journey of becoming real. And once you arrive there, you don't fall in love the same way again. Because now, you're not looking for your other half. You're looking for someone whole, just like you. But deep work needs daily practice. Next, we'll translate this into real-world tactics, ways to soothe the nervous system, rewire the craving, and take your healing into your hands. You've seen the map, but now you need to walk it. Emotional detox isn't about forgetting them. It's about remembering you, the self that existed before the craving. Here are 4 real-world tools to support that return. 1. The somatic pause. Your nervous system doesn't speak in words. It speaks in breath, stillness, safety. Every time your mind spirals into fantasy or fear, stop. Feel your feet. Press your palms together. Exhale slowly. This is polyvagal grounding, a way to remind your body that you're not in danger, even if your emotions say otherwise. 2. The dopamine reset. Limerence runs on novelty. The rush, the chase, the ping. Reset your reward system. Turn off notifications. Take a 48-hour fast from social media. Flood your brain with simplicity. Walks, cold showers, journaling. Let stillness become your new high. 3. The no-contact script. Clarity begins with boundaries, even if you're not ready to let go forever. Let go for now. If needed, all right. I'm taking space to reconnect with myself. Please don't reach out. Then keep your promise to you. The mirror prompt. Each morning ask, what part of me did I give away to them? And slowly call it back. Healing isn't a single moment. It's 1,000 small refusals to chase the person you once believed could complete you. If limerence is a mirror, then real love is a window. It's not about losing yourself in another person. It's about being fully yourself and being met. Real love doesn't spike your nervous system. It calms it. It doesn't beg for validation. It breathes with trust. There's no guessing, no decoding, no performance. You're allowed to be uncertain, to be growing, to have needs without fear that they'll be too much. Real love doesn't complete you. It witnesses you, not as a fantasy, but as a human being. There's a kind of relationship where your silence isn't punished, it's held. Where the question isn't, how do I keep them? But, how do we keep choosing each other? That's not limerence. That's connection. And that kind of love only finds you after you've found yourself. So now I ask you, which part of this spoke to you? Have you been in love or in limerence? Drop love or limerence in the comments. Not for algorithm's sake, but to name it, to see it, to release it. And if this opened something inside you, subscribe, not for content, but for clarity. We're building a space here where mirrors break and truth begins. You never really loved them. You loved the part of you saw reflected in their eyes. That's the ache. That's the illusion. But now, the mirror is cracking, and through it, you're starting to see not who they are, but who you are beneath the craving. And that is the beginning of real love. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to drop a comment below and share your opinions. We read every single one. Thanks for watching.